We love hip
I
hop.
want to talk about this J.Cole stuff quick before we get to our Toronto news, because J.Cole, he dropped some music. I actually watched the music video earlier, and I can't play it over here. I wish Mans would whitelist some of this stuff. But the fall off is on the way. The fall off is on the way. Let me see if I could pull up this video here. What was this one called? Disc 2, Track 2. It's supposed to be a double album. It's dropping in February 6th, if I'm not mistaken. Let me ask you guys, actually, before we get to this. Actually, I'll play the video and then I'll ask you guys after. But are y'all ready for a J. Cole album? All right, after everything that he's endured, going through the battle of the century, the battle of ages. And, you know, everybody talks about how he was J.Fold. He backed out. Oh, my God. He made Drake get into this whole thing, and then he ran away. His name is forever going to be connected with Kendrick Lamar and Drake. Apparently, Big Nasty said, what did he endure? The hate. Fam. J.Cole, J.Fold. Can y'all give me some more? Give me some more names that people are calling this guy. Like, I've seen a lot of shit online, and it's like, how you go from being the guy where everybody fears, like, yo, don't let J. Cole get in the booth. If J. Cole was ever to get in the booth and get at somebody, it's a wrap. Even when he addressed Lil Pump and them in the song there back in the days, like, I was like, this nigga is amazing. I'm a J. Cole fan, so I'm gonna check for the shit. But a lot of people were on this fake Cole, right? There was a lot of dissing, yo. When you go from being that loved to that hated just because you made a move to help your own mental state, you feel me? You did something for your own mental health, and then everybody in hip-hop is like, you a bitch. You a runner. You a scary nigga. And it's like, nah, bro, I just don't want to lose my friends. Even saying it sounds pussy. But, right, like, you know, come on, fam. Does it always got to be war? Holy, 2 days, 3.3 million. It could have been a little bit more still. Not going to lie. But, yeah, if I could play just 2 seconds.
My experience of being a parent dispersed, watching my son disappear as I stare at his birth, and he returns to the womb, wifey stomach grown greater in girth.
What he did on this track right here, whoo! I ain't gonna lie, like, maybe Kendrick might be able to do this. I don't know. Drake might be able to do it too, but he ain't gonna do it. But the concept in this song, how he went from the current time now and then rewound his whole life all the way back to his birth. Amazing. Don't tell me y'all ain't gonna go check for the fall off with shit like that, bro. Don't do that.
And then declining every time we come here to the nurse. With each day that passes, I can feel my career coming first.
I'm giving myself bare copyrights today on this thing here. Okay, let's get to the video that I wanted to react to. Big salute to What's the Dirt. Big salute to Matt. He dropped a video a few hours ago. J. Cole, The Fall Off Full History album cover and trailer explained. So let's see what he got to say over here.
Everybody starts at the come up.
They say I'm the down south knife, the East Coast Pac.
And no matter what they accomplish in life, no matter what the accolades might be, they end at the fall off.
Bitch, I'm about to blow.
Hold on. Before I let Matt cook over here, don't do that, Nice Glass. Hold on. Where's the previous comment? It said, I'm not. All right, you're not going to check for it. And then the follow-up comment, unless I'm having trouble sleeping. Don't do that, bro. Y'all, are y'all J. Cole fans in the comments over here? Maybe let's check the temperature over here. One in the chat, If you're a J. Cole fan, you've listened to multiple albums. 2 in the chat if you're like, turn that shit off, bro. Turn that shit off, bro. What are you listening to? J. Fold? What is that? NyQuil shit? Like Forest Hill Drive is a classic, fam. Holy. Even the album that came after Forest Hills Drive, I don't remember the name, which kind of says something. But a lot of people didn't like that album. The one with the folding clothes and all that. I like that album. Right? KOD. Holy shit, man. KOD's, I won't say a classic, but pretty damn close. For Your Eyes Only. Yes. People call that's when people were really starting to lean into that. Oh, that's that NyQuil music. Oh, you listen to J. Cole? Were you having some trouble sleeping, bro? Like, don't do that, bro. I understand the folding clothes song was a little corny, right? But even on the album before Forest Hill Drive, he had that song where he was talking about losing his virginity. That song was corny, but then he had a whole bunch of bangers on that album. To me, that's like maybe my second favorite. You know what? I need to do just a quick service over here because I'm fucking up big time, bro. Hold on. J. Cole. Just in the back end, pause. I'm just checking the albums here. Because I'd be fucking up the name for some reason of Born Sinner. Born Sinner? Amazing album. Washroom Music, Carol. You saying they're playing that when you go to, and they're just that da 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 da, just like kind of like in the background, kind of not too assuming music. You know what I'm saying? You might hear it when you're in the washroom taking a piss, washing your hands. Da 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 da. What's your tune? Taking up space. Is that the one they were talking about? Him being in the house with his girl and stuff like that. Like, I could understand where some people get their sentiments from, but he always circumvents it with having a whole bunch of bangers outside of the maybe 1 or 2 corny songs, or could be deemed corny songs. But Cole's been freaking fire, yo. Listen, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but damn, bro, the Cole hate is crazy.
It is really here. It's finally time. On February 6th, we are getting what I believe will not just be a 2026 Album of the Year contender, but an absolute blowout for that spot. J. Cole is about to drop the best album of his career, and sadly, this could be the last project that we'll get from him. You know, Cole has flirted with the idea of hanging it up, but he didn't explicitly claim that he was gonna retire either. In a 2020 interview with Slam Magazine, Cole said the following: "Bro, I'm super comfortable with the potential of being done with this shit, but I'm never gonna say, oh, this is my last album." So he's been talking about the project for a long time, but where did it start? Well, as far as I'm concerned, it goes back as far as KOD in 2018, where the original name of the infamous 1985 track had the words "the intro to the fall off" in brackets. Ironically, that track is about young rappers that get hot and eventually fall off.
Now you scrambling and hoping to get hot again.
Cole would also sit down with Angie Martinez for what, in my opinion, is his best interview ever. And he doesn't just mention the fall off, he even projects that it will be dropping in a year.
But it's not an album?
The album that I was talking about, you talking about the fall off.
Yes.
That's that probably won't come for another year.
Okay.
I've been working on.
He's been talking about this shit for years. I asked in the comments, will the fall off be or in the poll, will the fall off be a classic?
On it though for like a year and a half.
That was 2018. He claimed he was working on it for a year and a half, which means as far back as 2016, he's been planning this project. And we've had a lot of teasers over the years. In 2019, when Cole was slated to perform at the Day in Vegas festival, he used an ad to open up his performance where, again, he promoted the Fall Off, this time with a date of 2020.
Make your voice heard. Vote for the Fall Off in 2020.
And it wasn't long after where
2020?
Cole
Holy
claimed that he
shit.
was dropping 2 songs from the Fall Off itself, and that was The Climb Back and Lion King on Ice, which ended up on a 2-pack that he titled Lewis Street. And what we'll do is we'll take a look at some of those tracks that were supposed to be on it that never made it, because I think that'll give us a good window into what the album's going to be about. Continuing on into 2020, Cole dropped a notebook checklist that seemingly acted as a roadmap for his future.
Yo, this guy's playing the long game.
Discography. You can see he already has some of the projects checked off, but there were a few more things left to do before we get to the Fall Off, and he said, I still got some goals I got to check off before I scram. Again, he's kind of hinting at a potential retirement. And following along with that roadmap, the next thing in line was the off season, and that's exactly what he was about to check off. To promote the project, he dropped an Instagram post.
Off season was fire too.
For his Album of the Year freestyle, where he said, all roads lead to the Fall Off. This line really fits perfectly with the trailer that he dropped today, which we are going to discuss. On the off-season project itself, J. Cole would mention the Fall Off for the first time in his music, and that was on a track called My Life with 21 Savage.
After the fall off, I promise I'm coming and selling out Wrigley's.
To me, it seems like he's planning a pretty big tour after the album drops. Maybe he'll do like a 2-year run again. I saw both shows back to back. We can't forget that Cole also put out a documentary for the off season, and for the first time, we seem to get a little more insight into where his head was at with his vision for the project.
When Melissa told me she was pregnant, it was like almost like a clock went off. Like before life completely changed, I was like, damn, I need to refocus, wake back up and lock back in and begin the process of like the Fall Off, which is reaching its highest height before I feel like I can like comfortably just relax.
It was also around the same time where
I don't want to sound like a glazer, yo. This nigga makes some really dope shit, man. Like, I know what people are saying, like J.Fold, why you do that at the battle? Like, all right, but we don't know these niggas personally, fam. Okay, he backed out of the battle. He made Drake freaking jump out the woodworks and get into a whole battle with Kendrick Lamar and everything. It's not all fucked up now, but like, you kind of fucked up Drake's shit a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. I wanted to find a positive and find like the silver lining in the clouds. You feel me? I'm not saying that I'm over it, but I'm just saying if I'm homie, because you know Kendrick Lamar is supposed to be on this album, right? There's a rumor that Kendrick Lamar is supposed to be on this album. It's just a rumor. All right? Is that cool? I'm asking. Is that cool? Because if that happens, bro, and I'm Drake, I might have to get 5 minutes, bro. Like, just 5 minutes, fam. We don't even have to have no cameras, no security. 5 minutes, bro. Because, like, bro, you made me jump out the woodworks and get into all of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Niggas is calling me PDF and stranger danger and all type of shit because you're little man over there in LA. And then, you know, you buddy with them. You cool now. Everything's good. Fall off coming soon. Fuck it. He's still good.
Cole sat down with Kevin Durant, and that convo hit different because he finally said it out loud. He basically admitted the Fall Off was a next, there was a roadmap, and before he could get to the Endgame album, he said a project called It's a Boy had to come first. Cole doesn't strike me as a guy that's going to write down this elaborate plan and roadmap and not follow it. I think It's a Boy is still coming. I think before February 6th, we're probably going to get it. So now we're in 2023, and we still had no album, but Cole would mention the fall off yet again at the very ending of his track Adonis Interlude from the Creed 3 soundtrack.
Just cop the fall off and he'll explain the end of the chapter. Happily ever after. It's gonna be the year that fulfill his reign.
So the end of the chapter, fulfilling his reign, you know, all kind of clues towards hanging it up. And that brings us to the record that I'm sure everybody watching has heard. And this is First Person Shooter with Drake. And again, Cole
Drake?
mentions the fall off.
I'm naming the album The Fall Off. It's pretty ironic because it ain't no fall off for me.
From here, the battle happened and Cole seemed to go outside of the roadmap as we get Might Delete later. And I believe his reasoning for naming it this is because it was never really part of his plan. This was a complete detour from what he had in mind, and obviously the battle happening and everything surrounding.
He should have never dropped that album, man. That was a mid J. Cole album. It was one of those ones where the songs sounded uninspired. A lot of them sounded like carbon copy Drake flows. It just wasn't the J. Cole that I was used to hearing. And then he ended up deleting the last song that everybody was looking for anyway, where he was dissing Kendrick. So that was just like a pointless album, bro. That right there is a strike. Besides, I guess, backing out the battle, which to me now in hindsight, I don't think it's a strike. But that album itself and taking back the song, even if you took back your sentiment, leave the song up. Okay? Because that album right there, bro, or just not even do it at all. You should just never have made no, you should have not done it, bro. But that's woulda, coulda, shoulda shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, bro. That was a bad move.
Surrounding it wasn't something he could predict. Even the track where he went at Kendrick, which was titled 7 Minute Drill, was something he described years prior.
Like, remember I told you about the 7 minute drill? Like, I put myself through drills. I really try to work on my craft to like just reach new heights and push myself. So
I don't believe for one second that Might Delete Later acted as a replacement on his roadmap for It's a Boy. I don't think this was supposed to happen. He knew that, and that's why he named it that. It was on Might Delete.
See, this is the hate that I'm talking about. This is you're fucking with the man's mental health. Carol, Aiden Ross got more guts than Jake. I don't know if I could say that on YouTube. Just send the man into a spiral, fam.
Later, where Cole made a very bold declaration on Crocodile Tears when talking about the fall off.
The fall off is like Hole dropping Reasonable Doubt last.
Bold claim, but if you're asking me, I 100% believe him. But Matt, why are you so confident that J. Cole is going to deliver? Well, it could be the fact that I know he's been obsessively sifting through hundreds of songs in the process of getting this album into our hands. It could be that beyond the fact that he's had this thing in the works since at least 2017, J. Cole has been telling us the mission for this album the entire time. He's quite literally pushing himself to produce the best quality music and the most sharpened version of himself. There's a reason why we've all agreed that over the last 5 years, J. Cole has progressed as a rapper while his peers have either remained stagnant or even regressed. When an artist puts themselves in a position where they aren't battling against someone else but themselves, that's one of the most healthy headspaces you can be in as a creator, and it's not an easy place to get to. J. Cole has got himself to a point where he's not saying, is this verse better than Drake's? He's saying, is this my best verse? How far can I actually take this?
That's hearsay.
What is the fall off really going to be about? Well, we do have a window into it because there are a few different tracks where Cole said himself they were originally meant for the fall off, but he dropped them early. False Prophets, Everybody Dies, and Middle Child. And knowing that these were supposed to be on it, it kind of gives us a good clue as to where he's headed. On False Prophets, Cole is watching legends turn into complete assholes through their ego. It's basically him saying that the fall off really starts in the mirror.
It's been hard for him to look into the mirror lately. That's the reason why his fall from grace is hard to take.
Everybody Dies ties perfectly into the trailer that he dropped today, which we'll soon discuss. On this record, Cole is saying that the industry is fake, and then he zooms out to say that none of it matters anyways.
Hold on. W.L. 3545 says you got to cite your sources. Yeah, salute to what's the third. That's the homie right there. But yeah, how do we know that those songs were supposed to be on the fall off? Well, let me let him explain. He'll probably explain it.
Because nothing lasts.
Cause one day everybody gotta die. One day everybody gotta die. Oh.
Then we have Middle Child, which shows Cole as a bridge between generations, something else that happens to pretty much every artist. The old people phase out or fall off, the new people come in, and eventually you're standing in the middle of it.
I'm dead in the middle of two generations. I'm little bro and big bro all at once.
So there's a theme to these records, right? And I think he's just going to expand on these things on the album. So today he finally dropped the album cover, and to me this is reminiscent of his first mixtape, which was called The Come Up. This is where everything started for J. Cole and what the come up actually looked like. I'm fairly confident this is a representation of J. Cole's childhood bedroom. We see CDs and possibly floppy disk all over the place, and that's because the ASR X Pro sampling machine used floppies for storage. J. Cole did a tour of his childhood home, and he introduced that machine to us as his first beat machine.
This is my very first beat machine. I know y'all use Fruity Loops. I'm on Logic. Some of y'all use Ableton. Nobody's using analog things anymore, but this was the first thing in like the year 2000. It's a sampler. It don't come with barely no sounds, and I had to figure out how to use this, and that's when I started making my own beats, writing my own songs. It all started on this machine right here. So
really, to me, the messy
It's good youth, yo. It's good youth.
room, cables, and everything else you see is Cole's way of saying this is where I became me, and this is where I'm closing it all out. Because if this room didn't look like this, he wouldn't be here, and there would be nothing to fall off from. If you think I'm missing anything, or like you could see something that I don't see, leave it in the comments. Now we get to the trailer, which I absolutely love because everything he's putting across here is very true. The scene opens with J. Cole washing what looks like a Lamborghini Urus, and the narrator is talking about how people will often make claims about artists, actors, or musicians on how they fall off.
And it's like, oh, this guy used to be famous and then he fell off. What happened?
The narrator that you're hearing, ironically, isn't someone that's really well known himself. The audio that J. Cole is using is from a man named Dan Harumi, who posted the original video to his YouTube channel 9 months ago. Dan said it was pretty crazy for him because when J. Cole's team reached out, the video only had 300 views at the time.
Jesus Christ. Listen, man. I'm sorry, man. Y'all are going to call me a glazer. He's a nice guy, man. That's a nice guy. Come on, gang. How you gonna hate on J. Cole, bro? He's a nice guy. If he was one of those people who had shit music, you still kind of give him a pass, kind of, sort of, because he's a nice guy. You know those ones there, like, yo, the person's music shit, but, like, they always buy you lunch? You're like, bro, you didn't have to buy me lunch, fam. We're just doing a studio session. It's like, nah, bro. I knew you were hungry, bro. And I heard that the other day that you were talking about, like, a turkey sandwich, so I figured I'd get you a turkey sandwich. It's like, bro, make your eye well up a little bit. Like, you a nice guy, bro. Good man. You know what I'm saying? Not the kind of niggas that you shake their hand like that. The kind of niggas you shake their hand like this. You feel me? You're a good guy. Holy. Can't hate on Cole.
And it's like, oh, this guy used to be famous and then he fell off. What happened?
300
I
views,
put that video
man.
out on YouTube, and at the time, it had like 300 views. And one of those 300 views was J. Cole. So
nice
you never know.
guy.
People see J. Cole washing a $200,000 Lambo as just him showing his personality, but to me, it fits the narration perfectly because the
I don't mean to keep on stopping the video, but it's a reaction. W.L says, we love Drake, Cole, and Friday. I'm not even close to as nice as freaking Cole, though. I can't speak for Drake, but like, this guy's a nice guy. Give you the shirt right off his back. I would too for certain people, but like, this nigga sounds like he'll do it for a stranger that he just met like 5 minutes ago. You cold there, buddy? That shirt kind of looks a little tattered. There you go. Mind you, if I had his kind of paper, I'd probably be way nicer too. So put that into perspective.
Lambo isn't really a flex in this scene, it's a symbol. It represents the fruits of Cole's labor and many entertainers just like him. It's like cleaning an old trophy and looking back at a moment you thought solidified you forever, only to realize that the world moved on. The shine,
This guy has a Lambo and rides his bike.
hype, and applause eventually fades, and now you're left with the thing that used to mean something, trying to bring it back to life with a rag and a hose. To me, this is the greater metaphor. You can polish the outside all you want, but you can't wash away time. You can't wash away the feeling of what once was permanent and is now just a moment that people already replaced.
And it's like, oh, this
That's
guy
fucking
used to be
deep.
famous and then he fell off.
Next, we see Cole seated in a diner, just doing regular day-to-day shit like any other person. And this matches the narrator's whole point about falling off because it's a representation of doing such great things in your life, but that one day coming where it passes. When the pen writes its last line and the lights are off, he's just another guy living a normal life. I think a lot of people in show business relate to this, right? And they probably appreciate it, whether they're rappers or not. I found myself thinking about this many times. I've looked at covers of old movies from the 1950s and thought, damn, the person on the cover of this movie was probably a big deal, but I don't know. And his creation was eventually replaced by a CD. I think about things like that when I'll be super famous and successful, but I've never heard this in my life. You know, I think about the one-hit wonder artist who just had that one hit. Represents to me. It's accepting that longer, but either way, regardless of what you've done, you will eventually be forgotten. This is what the fall off truly represents to me. It's accepting that regardless of what you've accomplished in life, you will one day also be forgotten. This is a very scary feeling for someone who is an entertainer or in the public eye. I know the feelings that I get when I read comments that tell me that I fell off. It doesn't feel really good, but it seems J. Cole has accepted and is exploring a topic that no other rapper has dared to touch on. The fall off for J. Cole doesn't seem to be about losing relevance, but more about choosing the moment you step out of the spotlight instead of being dragged out of it. Time erases charts, trends move on, and Cole has been staring this fact in the face longer than most rappers ever could. It seems J. Cole is basically saying, I'm not here to stay hot forever. I'm here to say something before I leave. If being forgotten is inevitable, let me speak honestly while I'm still heard and at my very best. Some see this as a retirement, but I see it more like a final letter. It's an end to an era that he felt obligated to complete.
I will say this about the falling off aspect. I don't think J. Cole, for what he's done in his career at this point in time, could ever consider anything a fall off like when he leaves. Because even with everything that's happened with the battle and the backlash that he received and stuff, his fan base is so strong. Hence, even the amount of people that jumped in the comments that are supportive of him, his fan base is so strong that they'll be sad if this is his last album. All right. So it won't be like, who could I say fell off? Big Daddy Kane fell off, with all due respect. Right. He made a series of bad moves where the next album that he dropped wasn't as successful. J. Cole, with the exception of a couple of I guess mixtapes or whatever, or albums, everything he did was successful. Everything he did was just an elevation all the way through. So even now, if he decides, okay, I'm just going to back out of the game, one, he's not going to be forgotten. And two, nobody's ever going to say J. Cole fell off. When you become that successful, they can never say you fell off. You know what? Let me think about that. Because we had the discussion the other day that if Drake drops Iceman and it only does 150,000 the first week, niggas gonna say he fell off. But is that really the case? If you achieve so much more success than anybody else in the game, or your peers at least, can anything you do moving forward be considered a fall off? Like, you won already. You've lapped a lot of your own peers. So fall off how? You know what I'm saying? Even the whole time when people were saying, oh, Cole fell off after the whole thing that he did with the battle and backing off. Like, did he fall off? Is he out here asking people for money? You know what I'm saying? Is he out here doing weird shit online to try to go viral? Nah, is he on, with all due respect, Love and Hip Hop or friggin' something on Zeus Network or something trying to, reheat the shit? Nah, he's chilling. You know what I'm saying? Lil Scrappy fell off. Respectfully. Right? But that's what you call a fall off. And I'll say more names. Consequence fell. Waka Flocka Flame fell off. Okay? I know he's doing different shit. He's done, the EDM stuff and all that. Cool. But as far as hip-hop standards, he fell off. Friday Ricky Dread fell off. No. I fell on. You know what I'm saying? I quit rap and got lit. You know what I'm saying? I fell on his pause. Ja Rule at the time fell off, but in the long run, he's a legacy act now. He's not, obviously doesn't have the same kind of success as 50 Cent musically, but it's not like people don't go to Ja Rule shows, regardless of the time when 50 bought out the front row of seats and stuff like that. Like, Ja Rule is still requested as far as legacy shows and stuff like that. Nobody's checking for new Ja Rule music, but guess what? Nobody's checking for new 50 Cent music neither. Niggas dissed 50 Cent the other day. 4 niggas jumped in the booth and dissed them. Now mind you, I don't mind what he's doing in return, because he's showing Jim Jones in the studio, no electricity. He's on these niggas' head tops digitally, right? But he ain't going to the booth. I ain't going to the booth. Mad niggas dissed me this year. I'm not going to the booth for them. Right? What are you saying about Joe Budden? Joe Budden, music-wise, fell off. Fell the fuck off. Let's think about that for a second. Because obviously Pump It Up was the big tune. He was at the high. He had the song Fire with Busta. There's some hoes in this house. Can't stop, won't stop. Down, get down. Ooh, I hated that old Joe Buttons. But over the years, musically, yes, he fell off. He never ever reached that height. And he even had, and I listened to all his shit. He had the album there with he had the song NBA with what's the homie's name now? Rich Homie Quan, I think, might have been on the song. I don't remember. That song was not good. And I know they were trying to go big with that one. Or She Don't Put It Down Like You with Lil Wayne on it. That didn't work. So I know he was swinging for the fences, but yeah, that didn't happen. It says, yeah, but 50s music is still tough to new generations. I don't know anyone my age that could name a Ja Rule track. What? That is blasphemy, sir. Or ma'am, I don't know. I think it's a sir. That's blasphemy. Not one Ja Rule song? Don't do that, bro. I'm not even going to draw for Always on Time. Holla, holla. You're going to tell me you don't? Bro. Somebody said, nah, listen, bro. Don't do that. Ja Rule's a legend. What do you mean, who the fuck is Ja Rule? You don't know about always there when you call, always on time. Baby. Right? World's best shower singer, bro. Baby. Man, don't diss Ja Rule like that. Somebody said Bobby Shmurda. Bobby Shmurda definitely fell off. His whole squad fell off. Roddy Ricch, he fell off too. Yeah, a lot of people fall off. But yeah, I don't think J. Cole is anywhere in that category. Fetty Wap, did he fall off or did he fuck up his career? It's hard to call it. You know what I'm saying? The man just came home from like a big Fent conviction. Yeah, this Bear Man's Polo G. Yo, Bear Man's fall off. So Cole should never even put himself in the category of fall off when there's a multitude of people that fell off. Okay? Falling off doesn't mean you had one hit. That means you were on fire. You had multiple songs. People were checking for you. Maybe Bobby Shmurda might not be able to be put in the fall off category. He might be in the one hit wonder category. Okay? Because there's a big difference between somebody who fell off and somebody who just was a one-hit wonder, okay? If you only had the one hit and niggas is like, they only know you for one song, you never really, like, even if that one song got you millions and millions of dollars, they never really gave a shit about your shit. They never cared about your career because niggas never checked for your album, or if they did, they just bought the album just so that they can go straight to that one song. Like, yeah, nothing ever happened past the song. Okay, you might still even be able to tour off of that one song, but you never was like hot like that. Like, yo, they dropped an album. Homie dropped an album, and there was about 3 songs on that album that were crazy, and then the next album wasn't as hot, but he still had like 2-3 songs that were bangers. Like, that's somebody who was on. Okay, you know who fell off? I seen somebody say Fabulous. You think Fabulous fell off? I think he kind of like backed out of the game. But you know who I think fell off? Young Ma or Young M.A. Not Young Ma. Young M.A. She fell off. She was hot at one point. All right. She had the ooh. That shit was crazy. She had the next song, Eat. That was crazy. The album that she dropped right after Ooh. Oh, and then she had the other one. Big Something. When they're like that, the videos, everybody had the big heads in the video and shit like that. Right? She was on fire. Her album, I found myself listening to it. Right? I was like, damn, this is some good shit. And lyrically, she's proficient. Okay? Then next thing you know, crickets. I was like, what the hell happened to her? So I will say young M.A. kind of fell off. But anyhow, salute to J. Cole. Enough of all this fall off talk over here. Okay? You guys have a lot of suggestions of people who fell off. That's crazy. The fall off be real. But yeah, salute to J. Cole. I will be checking for that album. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to check out these other videos on the screen and make sure to like and subscribe.
We love hip hop.